Yes, it's good now.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Florence. I'm a front end engineer, and I'm so excited to be here and to share my insights with you guys. So, on today's topic, analyzing game development, I would like to say that I'll be approaching it from like a career perspective. So, I'll begin by saying over 40% of the world's population are gamers. So from kids to old folks, we all play games. We play game to, let off steam, for leisure. Game is something that fits in every aspect of our lives. When we are happy, sad, angry, we play games. So, um, have you ever stopped to imagine how the games on our phones and laptops are built, or how they got there, how they were shipped there? So I'm here to tell you today that it's not rocket science. As much as it's complicated, it's very doable. So gaming is among the fastest growing industry sectors with nearly 2.8 billion gamers worldwide. So if game development is something you would like to do, then I'm telling you today that a career in game development is super rewarding. So I will start by introducing us to the definition. So, what is game development? So, it's just basically the creation of games. It requires, the designing, development, and the shipping of games. So, that's pretty much how the life cycle is. Um, so, game development process typically requires input from one or more game designers, artists, programmers, animators, and project managers. So before a game is developed, there is the ideation stage, a stage where everybody involved, from the developers to the project managers to the designers, they come together and they do like an architecture brainstorming. So what game do we want to build? What is this game supposed to achieve? How do we go about the design? How do we go about the coding? And how do we ship? So that's basically the life cycle for game development. And there's also the software testing stage, where any game that has been developed would need to be tested, would need to be QA'd before it is shipped. So now let's go to the next slide, which says who can become a game developer. So anybody with a passion for gaming can become a game developer. I have friends that are game developers. I also have interest in game developing, but at this point in my life, it's not something I want to venture in. And also those with excellent technical abilities. For instance, as a front-end developer, I can easily switch to game development because I already have the foundation, I already have the fundamental knowledge. So unlike somebody who is just a newbie, who is just coming into the space, I wouldn't struggle as much. And also, if you enjoy video games and have strong arithmetic skills along with a creative attitude, then you have excellent potential. So I would say gaming is kind of different from from normal software development, because it involves more calculation. I know we've seen some games like chess, Sudoku, even the likes of God of War and all whatnot. These are games that so much mathematics, so much calculation and logic went into them. So if you are somebody with a sound knowledge of arithmetics, logic, or prior software development experience, you would excel in game development. So now let's talk about the game engine. How does it work? So as a front-end developer, I code in JavaScript, React. And so let's see the game engine as like a board, a flat surface where I take my code, I place on it, I run it, and then the game is live. So these are like software applications that allow us to create real-time experiences. These applications might be deployed to the web, here, like I said, or on our phones, headsets, even headsets or VRs. We know these big VR machines that we put on our face. It's like Google's. So we put them on our face for like it simulates real life experience. I don't know if we've ever been to the mall and these VR machines that we just put on. I know we can relate. So game engines are basically applications that help us bring games to life via code. And when I am talking about code, I think the likes of JavaScript, C Sharp, and even Python. Yeah, we can write games in these three languages or more. So now let's talk about the two major gaming softwares. So, like I said, if you like video games, you've probably heard of game engines like Unity and Unreal. So these are like the biggest game engines out there. And they are big and have like a very big community. So if you download these softwares to use and you stumble on blockers or errors, there is a wide community for you to reach out to on Stack Overflow, Twitter, anywhere. You can just ask your questions and trust me, they will come to your help. The community is as wide as the React community because there are over 2 billion gamers worldwide. So yeah, like I said, Unity and Unreal. So these are like the major gaming engines. They are all. Another thing about this is these engines are paid. They are not free. So if you would like to experiment, if you don't have the financial capability to opt in any of these, there are other free engines out there. But I don't think they're as massive functionality wise as these two we have here. So now let's look at the tasks and responsibilities of a game developer. So game developers transform visual ideas into code. So what are visual ideas? Let's say during the architecture meeting, the designer brings like prototypes of designs of different scenes and different actions and everything. A developer would transform that design into code via JavaScript and also CSS. CSS is very, very powerful when it comes to animation. A developer can also use Python, C Sharp. I think these are the three I'm very, very convinced and sure of. I don't know about others. So a game developer designs and develops game ideas. So like I said, no, we do not only call the software engineers game developers. The designers are also game developers, down to the project managers, down to the QAs. Everybody that is involved in the whole process is a game developer. So game developers also fix bugs and problems as they arise. Let's say something was shipped, a game was shipped, and users, okay, let me give us an example. So if you go on Play Store and you click on a game and you scroll down, sometimes we see people complaining like, oh, when I do this, it hangs. When I do this, it logs me out. So those are bugs. And game developers are always monitoring these bugs. That's why when we scroll down to the end of the application, we'll see the version. And new versions are often shipped, sometimes weekly, sometimes daily. So as people complain, these bugs are logged and the bugs get fixed. Also, game developers document the technical specifications. So this often happens during the ideation stage, during the architecture stage, where every party involved comes together and they document everything from start to finish, the technical specifications. Oh, what language are we going to use to do this? What game engine are we going to use? Who is going to do this? Who is going to do that? Roles and responsibilities will be shared and stuff. Also, game developers interact with designers, artists, producers, and quality analysts. So let's treat game development as your normal day-to-day Scrum process. Yes. So in Scrum, um, roles and responsibilities are shared. So there's a timeline to when features would be done and pushed. So they take part in active sprints. Let's say in 2 weeks, so will be done and deployed to production or deployed to Play Store. In so time, this feature would be shipped. So game developers, they don't work in isolation. So they work in a team. So if there's something you need the designer to explain to you, he would. If there's something the QA needs from you while testing what you've built, the QA would reach out to you. And lastly, last but not the least, actually, game developers port games from one system to another. So let's say we built something for Android. We can move what we've built for Android to iOS. We can move it to VR machines. We can move it to laptops and different kind of OS. So same game on different machines. So now let's talk about how to begin. If this is something you're interested in, if this is a career you would like to begin or switch to, so these are the steps. So first, you have to identify your interest. You have to be genuinely interested in game development because it's the interest that would push you, to accomplish whatever it is you want to accomplish in the field. And so you can take online courses or read publications. I know that there are like MOOC courses on Udemy, Front-End Masters. You can just, with a couple dollars, you can buy one of these courses and you practice as you learn, you code along. And also there are publications out there that are free on Medium. Personally, I prefer the first option because normally the tutors give real life examples. So they create games. So this is a learner would most likely understand the online courses aspect, the video aspect, than just reading, because you discover that you're just reading and you're not doing anything. As a software engineer, online courses are one of the things that got me my first role, my internship role. I just got it by mere coding along, watching videos, just making simple HTML websites. So the third point is practice as you learn. Yeah, I mentioned that during the second step. As the tutor teaches you, you can code along. If it's a simple game, say Pac-Man, I know that after every module there are assignments. So endeavor to always work on the assignments, submit. And like I said, there's a big community out there on Discord, on Reddit. If you stumble on any errors, you can always Stack Overflow also. You can always ask your question and trust me, you would be unblocked. Then the next step is focus on something smaller than you can accomplish. Yes. So focus on the small things. I mean, it's good to have dreams. It's good to have big dreams. It's good to see yourself on the big stage. But for someone who is just starting out, it's always good to focus on the tiny bits. If for your first project or second project or third project, you can make some just a Pac-Man game or an is it X and O game. It's something. If you continue with the little things, in the long run, you would build your portfolio to this level. So, like I said, I'm not saying it's a bad thing to dream big, but focus on the fundamentals. Because if you miss the fundamentals, you would struggle with the big concepts. And also seek help when stuck. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier. Always seek help. As software engineers, it is one thing software engineers know how to do is seek help. If you go on Stack Overflow, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, you would see people asking, "Oh, I'm stuck. I need help. Help me." There is no judgment. This is not a judgment zone. You get. You would always find help. Okay. Let's move to the next slide, which says, after the learning phase, what next? Yes. So, I would use myself as an example. When I was still learning how to code, I got to a point where I felt like, oh, I can't keep learning forever. I need to take the next step. So what I did then was I followed so many recruiters on LinkedIn and I kept shooting my shot at them. Even though I was aspiring for an internship role then, at the end of the day, eventually I got a yes from a recruiter, and that was how my software engineering journey started. So engage with the community on the online forums. So there's for the game engines, there's a Unity forum and there's an Unreal forum. There are communities on Twitter, there are communities on Stack Overflow. So you can go on there, you can follow people, you can chat them offline, you can tell them about your goals, about your dreams, tell them about your plans. Like, oh, if there's an opportunity out there, kindly plug me in. Also, scout for internships and apply. Just keep applying. Shoot your shot at recruiters. This is something that always works. Shooting shot at recruiters, it works a lot. Don't see it like, oh, it's just an internship role. It's not so big. Why do I have to message them? Yeah, you have to message them because as much as companies need full-time engineers, trust me, they also need interns. And no matter how small your job description is, you're also doing something. You're putting in the work, you're contributing. And at the end of the day, that's you're adding to the bottom line of the company, no matter how small your contribution is. So showcase your project to attract visibility. Don't be scared to post your work. Don't be scared to put yourself out there. Even in your learning phase, you can create a Medium account and document whatever you learn. You don't know who might find that helpful, or you don't know who might pick interest in your skill sets and reach out to you. And also build a game development portfolio. Every software engineer does this. And then prepare yourself for stiff market competition, because honestly, it's not going to be easy. This is an aspect that is growing rapidly. The game development aspect, it's growing so big. Gamers are there are so many now. And so you just have to prepare yourself. If you get turned down, if you get rejections, it's all part of the process. Um, so now let's look at careers in game development. So yeah, while I was talking, you must have heard me mention all these careers. So software engineering, these are the guys that code on the game engines. Project management, As the name suggests, this is the person who basically manages the project, the scrum processes and whatnot. Then product management. So this person manages the product technically or otherwise. So the product manager is in charge of um at in some aspect, the product manager is even in charge of the ideation. You get, he comes up with the idea, oh, let's do this. This is how we are going to do this, and this is how it's going to be shipped. And then the designer, oh, sorry. So the designer, as the name suggests, he designs the game. He designs the characters. Anything that has to do with creative prowess, the designer is in charge. Finally, the software testers. Before this game will be shipped to Play Store, iOS, it has to be tested because what we want to do is we want to reduce as many bugs as possible. We want our games to survive the test of time because there are so many competitors out there. And if we ship something that has so much bugs, in no time we would be out of the market. We would cease to exist, dead on arrival. So the software testing process is often so rigorous because this is something that will be used by millions and billions of users. Sometimes I wonder how the software testing for games like Candy Crush, how rigorous the process would be. I believe they would have like a team of maybe over 1,000 testers testing that game. Cause okay. Um yeah, and finally, my final note would be that when it comes to making gaming as a career, there are no easy answers. This person might tell you this person might tell you that. It's tough. It's tough. It's not easy. It's actually hard. I'm not even going to mince words. It's hard. But if this is something you're really interested in, if this is something you want to make a career out of, something you have a passion for, then trust me, your skill will be so much valuable. It's a super valuable skill. It is. Thank you very much. And if there are any questions, I would be super glad to address them.
Okay, thank you so much, Florence. It was a nice presentation. I would like to say that very soon I will drop another link for section two because our presentation webinar is from 5 to 7. So section two is going
Oh,
to be dropped. It's going to be dropped on the chat. But as we proceed, I would like us to know that if you have any question, you can please just ask any question. Because I have some questions for Florence, but I will want other people to ask questions first.
okay.
Morala Oshodi, you can ask a question. Okay, I want to ask this question.
Okay.
You were talking about Unity. Have you used Unity before? Because I've used Unity before. That was like 5 or 6 years ago, and it was not it's not easy because for you to use Unity, you need to know about 3D, you need to know about a lot of UI UX, you need to know a lot of things about development. So to design a game in 3D, to implement 3D to Unity, it was a big task for me. So I had to just leave that and I moved to another stage. So please, can you tell me what we need to do for us to be able to implement Unity, or if you have any idea of Unity, have you used it before?
Okay, so I haven't actually used Unity before, but you're not wrong when you said users need to have an idea of 3D, 2D animation and stuff. and it's actually not easy. So I believe if you don't have a background knowledge, or if you don't take a refresher course on something like front end or CSS or normal 3D, 2D animation, this is something you're going to struggle with. But based on my experience in CSS, front end, 3D, 2D, this is something I know that when I take it on, I'm not going to struggle much. I might struggle with the logic, but maybe setting up and the fundamentals, no, it's not going to be that much of a task for me.
Okay, that's fine. Any other question? Okay, if there seems to be no more question, I'm going to drop the second link. So the third person, which is Mr. Akachuku, is going to present when I drop the second link.